following is a production of Dirty Mo Media. Hey everybody, it's Dale Jr. back again for another episode of the Dale Jr. Download here in the Dirty Mo Media studios. And man, I'm excited. We got a whole season out in front of us. Been waiting to get back into the studio and get back to work. And but let's just get right to it. Got a great co-host joining me this year, TJ Majors. You know, TJ, everybody saw you a couple times on the show last year. You're going to be here full time. Took you a minute to get to work today.
I know. Yeah.
He's late.
Yeah, the wrong day on my calendar. So we'll be on Tuesdays most of the time. So that's what I had marked. But I did mess it up.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to, us doing this show together, and we had a lot of fun doing it together last year. And
well, hold on a second. What do we have to do to get you to be on time? And because DBC, I think you showed up. So
I'm usually never late. Trust me.
Yeah. So
I'm the guy that's always super early.
That's my point. Is you're on time for DBC, but for the Dale Jr. Download, you're
maybe planning on the day it's
late?
supposed to be on. I mean,
Travis just coming off the top rope here.
I know. Yeah.
There's we have a lot of text messages between you and me and Andrew and others in the Dirty Mo Media family about recording today.
So how about the clash?
Yeah, just hey,
Dale. We just want a little accountability, right, Dale?
Yeah.
Yeah, listen.
We felt like
there's nothing. Yeah, I messed it up. I put Tuesday on the calendar, and it's definitely not Tuesday.
It's not Tuesday.
So
it will be Tuesdays going forward.
Yeah.
So this was just an anomaly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean,
why are we recording today?
I think you picked it.
Do I got something going on tomorrow?
I don't know your schedule. You picked.
I don't even know.
I mean, I hope not now.
Yeah. I'll look and find out in a minute. I'm looking forward to this year, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We have fun giving each other a hard time and talking racing and having somebody at the table like you that's it's so ingrained in everything going on throughout the race weekend and the knowledge that you guys have. Obviously, that we've experienced and heard from you over the years on DBC. Bringing some of that over to the show is going to be a lot of fun for me. So I'm looking forward to it, man. But let's full time every week for Dirty Air. TJ is going to be a big part of that. We're still going to do our guest segment that'll come out on Wednesdays, and then we got have we talked about what have we said? What have we released on the Thursday side of things? Because we have a Thursday show, but I think we're just going to hang on to some of the details around that. It's not quite ready to reveal.
Not just yet.
It is good though. It's exciting.
Really exciting?
Not as good as you, TJ. Not as
is
good.
It really exciting now?
It is as good as
you. Might eat that.
It is.
Oh boy.
No, I'm telling you, man. We retooled a little bit this year, and I am freaking here for it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And so we actually did some shows during the off-season, which was kind of unique. I've always wanted to do shows in December and January, but we just haven't ever done that. We've always kind of ended our season when NASCAR's over and taken a break. But this year we kind of stayed a little bit in touch. So I was going to ask you how your off-season went. You've been kind of busy watching your Bills climb through the playoffs.
Yeah, and drop like normal.
Hey, you know what? I was gonna bet that he did not wear his Bills gear, but look at him.
I'm not. Man, you gotta.
Did you even sleep last night? Is this what you was wearing during the game?
No, I did not wear this during the game.
Maybe you didn't even go to sleep. You just drank you about a sixer and stared into the middle distance, wondering.
I'm used to this type of collapse. So this has been 4 years or 5 years in a row, maybe 5.
Are you kidding me?
No,
this has been like 50. 60, 70 years.
Well, no, that was 20 years of not making the playoffs. Yeah. Now we've been there. Now we just can't get over.
You don't remember the 4 years you went to the Super Bowl?
I do. I cried those nights. Yeah. I was in school. I was like 12 years old.
I can't even imagine. Listen,
it was bad.
Both of us, my Commanders, your Bills.
You're probably pretty happy
eliminated.
Still. Because you had a far higher than expected season than what you were, than what expectations probably were.
The team over delivered.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Absolutely. I mean, we won 4 games last year. I don't think anyone had us going to the playoffs this year. A lot of people had us winning 8 games.
They were fun.
They were fun. The team, we won a lot of games in the last play. Well, I think there for like 5 weeks in a row, it was like we were sneaking away with wins that could have been losses, to be able to give ourselves the record that pushed us into the playoffs. And then we had some great games.
Yeah.
Won 2 road games in the playoffs. I'll be honest with you, man. I got caught up in, man, we're almost there. We're about to one more game and we're going to go to the Super Bowl. And so when we lost last night in spectacular fashion, I think the score was, terrible, and I'm biased, of course, but the score wasn't really reflective of how competitive I think our team was. We did fumble the ball. We gave them the ball. They scored on they scored 21 points off of turnovers and mistakes. And, we gave up the touchdown on the very first play, but otherwise, I mean, there were the flashes of what our team is capable of. And, they just did everything right, and they were smart and didn't make mistakes as far as the Eagles go. But I got caught up in the idea of going to the Super Bowl, and so when we lost, I was really upset about it. And I think, I was around when they won in '82. I was around for the win against the Bills and the Broncos, and all of those years of being a playoff team and expecting to be a playoff team.
Oh yeah.
But I'd forgot what it felt like. I guess I'd forgotten what it felt like to get close, and so it kind of hurt worse than I expected it to. It took me I sat there till about midnight last night, just really fuming over how.
Dang, you were mad.
Well, yeah. I mean,
it's like a bad race.
Well, yeah. I mean, so I watched all of the press conference post game.
Yeah.
I watched the coach, our quarterback, Jaden. I watched a lot of clips of locker room interviews with Eckler and a bunch of other players. And the things that they kept saying was, this locker room won't look the same next year.
Yeah.
They all had a really cool message, and it was, we're all going to go into the locker room. We're all going to really kind of try to enjoy this little bit of time that we have before we all take off and go in our different directions, because when we come back, this team's on a rebuild. They got $80, $90 million in cap.
Yeah.
They got eager owners and GM ready to
older players too. That
they got the money to spend, and the people around in the GM is ready to fire away. And so that I think all the players realize, like, hey, this is a badass group. We bonded, we overachieved.
Mm-hmm. Us
together was working, but it ain't gonna look the same next year. And I don't. Maybe that's the same for all teams. What is that what it's like for the Bills? I mean, do you walk away from this year going, well, the team look different to you every season? Is there always kind of like, that back third of the roster?
I don't know if it's the back third. Most of the time, it's the guys that are at the end of their rookie contracts.
Yeah,
and
y'all lost a big time receiver,
number 1 and number 2 wide receiver last year.
Yep.
So, but you look at the guys that are up the end of their contracts. Like, there's probably some guys on your team that are going to get offers from a good team to go play, and they can make a lot more money there. But there's not really a lot you can do about it.
Yeah.
You just hope your GM and coach have, which I'm sure they do, have guys on their list that they want to look at and bring in, but the biggest piece is your team's going to get better because you got players now that are looking at Washington like, man, that's a fun place to go.
Right.
You're going to be an attractive place to go now because it's fun, just like Buffalo.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, you got a great quarterback, young. Players want to go play with Josh Allen and Jaden and them guys. They want to be a part of that atmosphere.
Yeah.
So as many players as you lose, you got other players coming in that are going to replace them. But it is sad, and it is kind of
it's sad, but
the magic's gone.
I let myself get carried away thinking about the how close we got to the Super Bowl instead of what I should have been doing was being thankful that we had the run we had, being thankful that for the first time in a long time there was a sustained excitement. Each game was better than the last, more fun to watch, to be. We're in my living room, my wife Amy, our kids. Amy is invested.
Mm-hmm.
She's cheering. She's happy, standing up, jumping, high-fiving every touchdown. Terry had everybody in the house.
Terry.
Yeah. And so, those ththings hadn't been happening. And so
that's fun. It makes football fun for everybody.
It was fun. And I like you say, man, I mean, I think it's the start of something cool and some kind of a sustained competitiveness that we hadn't had in a long time, and I should be appreciative. I am appreciative of that and looking forward to the next season. And that's why, we can sit here and wear our gear, right?
Oh, I'll
Even
be there.
after,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be there. I'll tell you what the downside is if you become competitive for 4 or 5 years and you make it to the AFC Championship
over and
game.
over.
So all the Bills headlines now are people, we need a new coach.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, we just had a 13-win season. We've lost like 7 games in like 3 years, and you want to replace the coach. Like
there is literally like only 1 or 2 little moments that are the difference between you guys losing that game last night and going to the Super Bowl. It's not a lot. No. It ain't much. When you can compare it to NASCAR, I mean, it's like finishing 3rd in the Daytona 500.
Yeah.
And all of the preparation and build up, it was one decision the driver made on that restart or what. It's nothing. It's not. You don't need to go. You don't
need to clean house.
No,
you're right there. I mean, if you hang out there long enough, it's like a race. You said you run 3rd long enough, you're going to win.
Yeah.
So I don't think they need to make a lot of changes. I know people are upset and some people want heads to roll and don't. But just pump the brakes.
And what they're up against to break through. I mean, what they're up against, the Chiefs. I mean, and all of the narrative around that in terms of how the Chiefs are getting all the calls and everything. They're up against. They not only got to play a great game. Right.
Yeah, you can't have any errors. You got to have a little luck too, because you're kind of playing against that. The other the calls but the bad part about it is we came from, Tom Brady, which was in our division. Now we got Patrick Mahomes in the AFC too, so we can't really ever meet them in the Super Bowl. You have to get through them to get to that point. Yeah. Because if the Bills and Chiefs ever could play each other in the Super Bowl, it'd probably be a great game.
Yeah.
So, but we'll never get that opportunity right now. But you just got to keep adding pieces of the puzzle, man, and trying to make it work.
Yeah, so the Eagles and the Chiefs will go play in the Super Bowl. Clint Boyer's got to be pretty happy about that. And they'll be the first team. The Chiefs will be the first team to try to win 3 in a row. No team has ever won 3 in a row. A few teams, and no team that won 2 in a row made it back to the Super Bowl to try and defend that title. I was hearing that stat last night during the game.
I heard that too.
Yeah, so I mean, pretty remarkable. And even though the Chiefs are annoying, as is anything that wins all the time, Andy Reid, that's just a cool story, man. Everything that he's been through.
Yeah, it's hard not to like
Andy Reid. To like Andy Reid. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, kind of a tough day or a tough night seeing your team. I just was like, man, I just want it to be close. And then when we had to do the things we had to do that allowed them to continue to open up the score and put 55 on us,
I know. I mean, I'm fully seasoned to this from the wide right field goal to the 13-second game in Kent. Last year we missed a field goal in Buffalo playing the Chiefs to tie the game and have a shot at winning. I'm just used to it. So, I mean, it's been a good year of football. We got a quarterback that scores over 40 touchdowns a year for 5 years straight. That's never been done. Football's fun whenever your team scores like that. Yeah. So we can just try again.
Well, all right, man. We're going to move on to some NASCAR conversation, talking about some rule changes for 2025 in the Cup season. Cars will no longer be eliminated from the DVP clock. You can now go back to the garage to fix damage and then return to the race. The same rule applies for cars with flat tires, which will now be towed back to the garage, but will be allowed to re-enter the race. One of the things that I was thinking about is, like, does that mean, TJ, that the teams need to start taking more things to the racetrack? So there's a lot of reasons why this DVP clock and cars were eliminated in those scenarios in the past, right? If you got taken back to the garage, your day was over.
Yeah,
right?
You're done.
There was a lot of reasons why they did that, but one of the reasons that I think about all the time as a car owner is all of our haulers were overloaded. All of our haulers were to the limit in terms of legal limits on weights getting up and down the road. Yeah, and so when we would have a $30,000 specially built crash cart.
Yep. For sure.
That was just for if we crashed.
Yep.
And you had one that had all the suspension all over it.
Yep.
You had another one that had body.
Yep.
2 crash cards.
Mm-hmm.
And you carried that damn thing everywhere. And if you didn't use it, it was like.
And if you use it, you had to restock it too.
Yeah. But if you didn't use it, you're like, damn, it's hauling this thing around for nothing.
Yeah.
And so, but does that reintroduce some of that, right? Certainly not as to the extreme as we used to have with the other.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be to the extreme, but we've already got a lot of these parts already there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's going to add a lot to it because I really think we have most of this stuff still on carts there because going through tech and stuff, you never know when something's just going to go bad or you get in a crash in practice or something. And so I think we have a lot of this stuff already, but not to the extent of like what those crash carts were like. A huge off-season project for most people. Like they built them things and they were nice too. Like they had all the suspension lined up, but it was built for efficiency too because when you did crash back then, you went to the garage, you wanted to be able to change that right front suspension as quick as you could and all that stuff, truck arms, all that stuff. So I don't think it's going to change a lot now. It's just the biggest change to me is going to, now when you go to the garage, you're going to go back there and fix it. You're going to come out and be 60 laps down, or now you're going to have – are you going to have more cars out there that are off the pace and maybe potentially help – it's kind of like catching the back of the field, more lap traffic.
Which I think is a good thing.
I
don't hate that.
I'd hate to be in that position, but it's going to create more it's like the leader catching the back of the field. When he catches the back of the field,
things change.
Stuff picks up.
Create opportunities to pass. Yeah, so
exactly.
You see a guy out there leading the race, and the guy in second's a little faster, but he just kind of hit that wall in terms of dirty air. Well, when the leader finally gets to the back of the field, that's when I that's when I, as a broadcaster in the booth, start paying more attention and saying, all right, does this present an opportunity for second? Because now the leader's challenged in dirty air as well. And so, having more cars out on the racetrack, especially cars that are, for lack of a better word, moving chicanes.
It won't be a problem most of the time because most of the guys, when you're that slow, you're going to be out of the way. And those guys aren't going to, impede that stuff. But you never know when they catch each other at the wrong spot. It's going to create some scenarios for passing.
I like the rule, especially for cars that were just, getting towed back to the garage with flats, and their day was done. That was some bad stuff happened to a couple drivers over the last several months. That was a bad look. So I'm glad that's been adjusted.
This will save a lot of points on people's seasons this year. I mean, instead of getting that. You get towed out and you have something small broke. Yeah. Instead of that 36, I mean, you might come back out and get 10 more spots.
Heck yeah.
So this can save a lot of points.
I agree. If a driver needs a waiver for a non-medical reason, they lose all of their playoff points for the entire season. This includes suspensions. And so basically, that one was met with a lot of confusion and and it was a...
Jeff Gordon called it the Kyle Larson rule.
Yeah. I was going to say that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. And I mean, I hate putting that on. I hate putting that label on it, but I don't like this waiver stuff. The original, like the whole idea of it, I just don't love it. And listen, I mean, I'm trying not to use any examples, but man, I mean, if you're injured and you're out, you're injured and you're out. And that's just how it is. Yeah. I don't think there should be a medical waiver. I don't think there should be any waiver whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, you show up, you race, you get points. If you don't race, if you don't start the race, you don't get the points. You just don't. And so, what is the argument against that?
Well, you're then going to potentially lose some of your top talent.
Oh.
But that's just part of it.
Are they going to quit racing?
But they would have gotten the playoffs even without the race, so they should still get in then.
So, all right, give me an example.
Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
He would have been in the playoffs even if he missed the 600.
Then what's the waiver for?
That's fine.
So why does he need the waiver? So
don't give it. Why do we need the waiver at all?
If you've earned your way in, you're in.
Okay, I'm good with that then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I don't love the optics of it. It's so there's this. I I don't love the optics of it because it's sort of taking this is my opinion, right? I don't know this to be fact, but let's go back. Let's look at the Clash, for example, right? They finally found a bit of a happy middle ground. But back when the Clash was running at Daytona and they continued to expand the field, the idea was that there were partners, there were brands and sponsors going, why isn't my car in this race? I want my car in this race. I won't, and then there were moments when like me or a big name person wasn't in the Clash. And so the rules of eligibility were continuously massaged and twisted to basically just to kind of include anything. We used to make the joke like, "Hey man, you got a valid driver's license, you're eligible for the Clash."
I almost ran it one year.
Yeah, and so it became a joke, and it took a lot of the legitimacy or the uniqueness or the specialness out of the Clash. The Clash, as I've mentioned a million times, is about pole winners.
I know. We used to get a pole and be like, "Oh yeah." We used to leave like getting the pole picture and be like, "Yeah, we're in the Clash."
Yeah,
like,
you would even hear drivers mention it in their interviews as they won the pole.
Yeah, it was cool.
We're in the Clash, and it was a cool thing. And it took drivers no longer go, "Hell yeah, I'm in the Clash."
No.
When you lost that, what have you done? What have you done? You've made a mistake. And so I guess what I'm saying is like this feeling like it's necessary to make sure everybody's always a part of it takes away the challenge of achieving, right? And so
well, are you worried that if someone gets in the playoffs they might skip out on a race? Because that's why the waiver.
So that's what the thing is.
They were never going to do that.
The charter agreement has like that you got to run all the races, right? I think the charter agreement says that you have to compete.
Yeah, like to make the playoffs, you have to compete. So that's why the waiver's there. So, like, are you worried
that's not why the waiver's not? So, the waiver is only, in my mind, to make sure your big stars are in the playoffs. And so if something were to happen, somebody gets hurt, or some medical issue happens.
Yeah.
I don't know that I feel that great. I don't know that I feel good about like the medical pass, getting the free pass off of an injury. Is what I'm saying. I mean that was never, it had been a certain way for so many years, and then now you can miss races due to an injury and still kind of
run for a championship. And I just never really thought that was part of the deal. And so I guess when I was asking you what the argument against it is, I was hoping you might say, well, NFL quarterback can get injured, come back, and then take his team to the championship, and say, okay, that's kind of what it's like. It's like, okay, which is,
Yeah, like I'm okay with a person missing a race, but the problem is then, like, let's say Denny Hamlin he's got plenty of points, he's going to be in, and he's like, you know what, I don't want to race this weekend.
He's not going to do that.
Yeah, they can't do that.
He's not going to do that.
Contractually, I don't think they can do that.
There's all kinds of mechanisms in place. Without the waiver, it's not necessary. There's all kinds of mechanisms. Okay. Denny Hamlin cannot turn the machine off and just say, "Yep, we're not going to run this week. Car ain't going to the track. I'm not going to be there."
Yeah,
that ain't happening.
Even Larson with a big point lead is not going to miss it.
Yeah, and I mean, it just ain't going to happen.
All right, let's get rid of the waiver then.
I just think it's unnecessary, and it's.
What all have we used the waiver for? I think Kyle was the first one when we ran the Xfinity race at Daytona and broke his leg, right?
Yeah.
And then he got the waiver. But to me, that's just kind of the chance you take running that stuff, though, too.
Yeah.
Like when you run them lower series, like things can happen.
Yeah, I mean that's the way I look at it too. Is like it's the risk you take, and
Do you think this could be a deterrent for someone right-hooking a driver and getting suspended, and they would lose their playoff points like Chase did to Denny?
Well, I do think that did have that did feel incorrect, right? That, you didn't a driver right hook somebody, get suspended, and then turn around and get a waiver.
Yeah, that does not look right.
Isn't that what the process was? It was like, I mean, that
so this could be a deterrent.
That to me, in regardless of whether it's Chase or anybody, it doesn't make no sense, right? And
yeah, that doesn't make much sense.
And so I do not like the optics of that, and I don't like NASCAR being the pulling the puppet strings there on all of that, and it's manipulation in a way that I don't think it's intentional. They're just trying to do the right thing, but I think they could just get out of that altogether.
But I think that this rule change does help that, because then you lose all your playoff points.
This is moving back in the right direction, but not all the way.
Okay.
Right? I just feel like to get rid of the waivers, get out of the waiver business. Don't worry about having to make that decision. If you're NASCAR, if I was NASCAR, I'd be like, I don't want to. I'm not doing this. I'm not being a part of the waiver stuff's going away. You guys show up, race, get your points. Good luck.
Yeah.
Season starts in Daytona.
Yep. Do the best you can.
Yeah. What happened to that? Why was that not okay, right? Why was that not enough? Anybody?
Well, it's because
you think
it's just like the Clash. You didn't have enough. Well, we need that start. We need that driver in there. We need that one in there now too. And you just don't. You lose all the prestige and of getting the polls and the award. Like when you heard, we literally I remember leaving places being like, oh, we're in the Clash now. Like it used to be, even if there was 12 cars in a race, it was still like you're in that group.
Yeah,
like you earned it.
Yeah, there's a broader conversation, I think, or a thought around what's good for the short term is not always good for the long term.
Yeah,
and in the short term gains, you can't be blind to the long term repercussions by looking at just the short term gain of a decision, right? You're like, oh man, let's put this guy in. That'll be great, awesome.
Yeah,
Clash is awesome now. Well, just this year, but what we've done, is kind of, the Clash to me is. While I love the fact they're going to Bowman Gray, I'm looking forward to seeing them race there.
Yes,
I wish it was. I wish it was pole winners, and I wish the criteria to get in was a little more exclusive and like, hey, these guys did this to earn it, and it's not. I don't see that. I don't feel that anymore.
So how excited are you for the Clash? Like, what's your thoughts?
I am looking forward to it because of Bowman Gray,
and I'm sure the racing will be. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I mean, we're all going to be glued watching it and seeing how it goes. But it's not the Clash to me. It's not. We got guys racing in that.
Yeah.
How? I mean.
Well, later in the show, Tim Brown, Ware, they're going to come on, and there's a lot of questions that I have that about. One of the things that I'm probably most curious about is the changes to the track. Tim Brown.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of people that are like, the safer barrier, no big deal.
Yeah.
Well, Tim Brown will know. He's ran there his whole life.
Our guys won't know a difference.
No,
but he will.
Tim Brown,
he'll know a difference.
And who has to keep racing there once we're done and we leave? What's going to happen there the rest of the year? Right? That's the weekly.
Are they removing the safer barrier after we run, or leaving it?
Probably leaving it. I would assume.
The place is narrow enough already.
Removing a safety barrier doesn't sound like a good thing to do.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll alter it or adjust it. But either way, I mean, I think since it's been implemented and installed, it's very expensive to install.
Yeah.
I don't see them taking it away, but I'm curious and can't wait to hear what Tim thinks about the track. Not the Clash weekend, but the Bowman Gray Stadium from this moment on is changed forever.
Oh yeah.
Right? Do they leave, those catch fence that they've added are I don't believe they are permanent. Is that something that they take away?
I mean, they built a racetrack at the Coliseum. I'm pretty sure they could take all this away if they wanted to.
I'd be curious if Tim knows anything about that because, that's something I'm curious about. Is like I'm pumped for the Clash. Clash is gonna be great. It's gonna be interesting, entertaining.
Somebody's getting spun.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be all kinds of and hopefully, I honestly hope that there will be a little bit of that traditional Madhouse happenstance, right? I don't know if I want them chasing each other through the infield and jumping out and fighting and getting the cops involved, but from the videos that we've seen at the Bowman Gray, it's entertaining, and I hope that vibe is there to an extent.
They will be taking some of the catch fence off. Okay,
so there you go. I mean, the track is going to kind of evolve beyond this weekend. It'll evolve back, I think, to its original state, but how much remains to be seen, and how that'll affect how the mods have raced there and will race there in the future. TJ,
are you expecting this to be – how much more exciting do you expect this to be compared to Coliseum Clash?
I just think a little bit more, but kind of like going to the Coliseum for the first time. You're in a new area. You're in a new facility. For us, this place has kind of been talked about and has the history of racing there. So I feel like this is a little bit more than the Coliseum. We're going to go there and we got guys in the field that are coming in to try to run this is kind of how it used to be back in the day. You had short track guys from that track that would try to make the race and be good there. Mm-hmm. And, you went to South Boston and raced in there. You had the locals that would run and be competitive.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be harder for these guys to be competitive in this field. But, I think it's going to be once these guys put the helmets on, man, and once they figure out how to get around the place, it's just going to be the bumper cars, and they're going to be using, these cars. It's hard to do the bump and run with these things. You're going to have guys getting hit and stopping in the middle of the corner, downshifting and digging again. But it's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see what it's like. And
you better have the padding in that headrest.
Oh, yeah.
Good and soft.
Yeah. Look, I don't need any padding where I'm standing. So,
well, there was one more rule change I wanted to touch on, the open exemption rule. A well-known driver who is of significant who is a significant contributor from another series, NASCAR drivers are not eligible, is now automatically into a cup race. It'll be the 41st car in the race, and they won't be eligible for points or prize money. And so, basically, Helio announces that they are going to run for the Daytona 500 with Trackhouse. But to request this open exemption provisional, we'll call it, they have to do it 90 days before the event, which they did. So I don't know if I like the provisional just popping up out of nowhere. It was like NASCAR just kind of had this light bulb idea. That wasn't the case. They had this written into the charter agreement. No one in our little world, as far as content creating and media, really picked up on it. But it's in there. And Trackhouse goes, hey, 90 days ago they went, man, we want to do this. We're gonna request this. And so since it's that far out, it kind of makes it less cheesy to me, because it's then not like this sort of last minute, oh, we want a free pass. This is something that they had planned out. Trackhouse was like, we're going to put this deal together. We're requesting this exemption. We're going to spend the next several months preparing a car and getting ready. And so, but it does raise a lot of questions. And I asked some of the folks at NASCAR about this. So, like, okay, it would exclude. So if Helio is given this, right, and it excludes the idea of that. So if Max Verstappen got a ride or put something together, it's already Helio's.
I was going to ask, like, what if there's multiple?
You don't know. It's one. So first come, first serve, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't like it in general.
what? That's kind of, I don't know. So, yeah, there's only one. And so if NASCAR were to approve a driver and then another even more significantly famous contributor applied, they would be, told, no way, bud. You're gonna you'd got to be an open car, try to qualify your way in.
But that's how it should just be anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
I am a bit surprised though, because I think Trackhouse is competitive enough to qualify in, and it's a lot of money to finish last. If you're just looking at, hey man, what's it cost to start the race, right?
It's a lot.
It's a lot of money
for 500. Yeah.
Yeah, and so to forego that possibility is pretty significant for a team.
But it's going to be hard. Like, this racing's not. It's not like it's hard now. Like, you got to know how to push, how to be pushed. There's a lot more, intricacies to this than what there used to be. You could have a fast car and kind of get in the right lane and move. Now it's just way different now.
Yeah.
So I think he would have. I'm not saying he couldn't do it, but it's hard to race your way into these things.
Yeah. So do you like the idea that a guy like Helio now can go to or whoever has this open exemption rule?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like the idea that he can now go there and try to qualify in as an open car, but have this sort of fallback plan? So he and imagine, I'm an open team, right? And so I got to go in there and try to. But if he, it's like,
yeah,
there's a little bit of an extra layer of safety. He's got a little safety net.
He does got a safety net.
I love this idea though.
You do,
because now you're going to get. Maybe next year someone's like, Max, we can get you in the Daytona 500. Yeah. It can entice them knowing that they're going to be in it.
I will say.
Don't you want to earn it, though?
Well, look, with the way.
To get Max, is Max going to like getting in he's not going to get a whole lot of time in the car. And yeah, he'd like to earn it, but so you can entice him, guarantee you're going to be out there to sell to your sponsors too.
Is Formula One going to let Larson run?
Wait. I got a thought about this. So. All right. When this rule was probably developed in the minds of whoever at NASCAR, there's not 8 or 9 open cars trying to attempt to make the race. It really was only coming down to like a battle between one and
like
one
it's 2 or 3 at most.
Yeah, it's 2 or 3 guys. So adding a 41st spot to the Daytona 500 and saying, look, you're not going to get any prize money, you won't get any points, you're just out there, fine. I can get on board with that. Mm-hmm. But as we have 8 or 9 open cars, so the optics of that is a little less comfortable or acceptable, right? It's like, wow, this, there's all these guys that are going to show up and try to make this race, but there's this one that's also trying to show up and make the race that's got a free pass. And I think imagine if the amount of open cars were to double next year, right? And you got 18 or 16 open cars trying to take, a handful of spots, 4 spots. But this one guy has this exemption. Then it becomes a little more hard to accept or swallow, especially if you're one of the open teams. But when this rule was probably created, they're like, hey, there's not that many people outside of 40 or 42 cars showing up to try to make a 40 car race. It's not it doesn't feel like a big deal. It doesn't. But I feel like as the field got larger for this race this year and potentially in the future, if the field is larger and more cars are trying to get in, is it feel fair to have one guy that's got a...
So we're worried about a problem that we don't have.
I guess so. But it's...
Like, so next year, yes, if Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton and... Scott Dixon, then figure it out. But right now, that's not a problem. So give Elio the spot.
Sure.
I still don't. I don't like it because this is the biggest race of the year, and this starts your season. You put a guy, and not saying he can't do it, but he makes a mistake, and
yeah, but that's okay. I remember.
I'm fine if he races his way into it,
which he could still do.
Yes.
So. I like provisionals. I miss a 43 car field. I wish we still had provisionals. I think that would be a good thing. So I don't hate the provisional idea. Hey, they're not giving him points, prize money. It's, I don't know, a couple $100,000 to start that race. That's a pretty big deal. Them giving that up to be in the event is a bit of a sacrifice on their hands. I go back to, I forget what year it was, but maybe somewhere in the early 90s, 92 or so. It was Dale Earnhardt Jr. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was going to drive for Rick Hendrick in the 46 car. And the excitement around Dale Earnhardt Jr. being in our field and trying to make the race, it was huge.
Yeah.
It was huge. He stood out. The idea of him making the race and even being in a really competitive car had the whole place buzzing.
Yeah.
Buzzing. Now, he wrecked his car in the qualifier, and they put him in Kenny Schrader's backup car for the 500. I don't even remember how he did, but it was just really cool that he was there. He had been running in the ARCA races, gaining a ton of respect amongst the other NASCAR drivers that were competing in those races, in the IROC races, I'm sorry. And so there was some confidence in his potential and ability. He's Dale Earnhardt freaking Jr.
Yeah.
And so, and he was just a great guy. You know, he had a great attitude about it, a good personality. And so there's a lot of folks that love Helio. I think the dude's a great guy. He's got the credentials.
Entertaining.
Yep. And he'll be a good media story. He'll be a great interview all weekend. There'll be good buzz around what he's trying to accomplish or do. People that love IndyCar specifically will be tuning in and paying attention. There's a bunch of great things on that side of it. And so I'm kind of, I'm kind of excited about it, and I like the idea of him coming and racing. And the exemption rule, the way it popped up in the media is kind of what was odd, because all of us were like, "Well, what's this?" Weren't we?
Yeah,
weren't we all like, "What the hell is this?" But it's actually been in the charter agreement for quite some time, and they had to ask for it way out in front, more than 90 days ago. And so that, to me, doesn't make it feel quite as slimy, I guess.
No, apparently they knew about it.
Yeah.
It seemed like when it got tweeted, it was like, so we're
damn, they just come up with this.
Yeah,
it felt
what
like
it seemed like.
All right, so we got Tim Brown and Rick Ware. They're coming onto the show. They're out in the lobby right now. Going to come in here, talk about, racing at Bowman Gray. Tim Brown is the winningest modified racer, I think, at Bowman Gray. 101 feature wins.
101.
And still going. 12 track championships. But he's going to race in the Clash, driving for Rick Ware, the team that he works for. He has built this car. How could you not pull for this?
It's an incredible story.
Yeah. Well, let's hear more about it. Let's bring him on in. All right, so we got Tim Brown and Rick Ware here. Rick, thanks for coming. Tim, good to see you.
You too, pal.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
How are y'all?
Man, I'm wide open, ready to go.
I bet.
Me too.
So, man, the Bowman Gray Stadium and the Madhouse, remember the Madhouse on History Channel years ago, really kind of introduced me to you and a lot of people, I think, in terms of your life, your career, and what a racer looks like, right? And just one of my favorite shows. I'm sure that was very impactful for you when you were going through that process. All of that seems to kind of have come full circle now as you, have continued to race modifieds, continue to win races, continue to be a big-time competitor at Bowman Gray and other tracks around the Southeast. But all the while, you've been, working at the Cup level in shops all across the industry, and now with Rick. And so, you're going to get this opportunity to live a dream that a lot of short track racers would love to live, and that's to compete at the top level. But you're going to get to do that at your one of the tracks that the best, which is a pretty unique opportunity.
It is, and I couldn't be more proud that it's going to be at that track, right? So not that it'll give me a huge advantage because the cars are so different from anything I've ever driven, but just the history of the place and get to do it at what I call my home track and where I have had a lot of success. Just thankful for Rick giving me this opportunity.
Yeah. So give me a quick background of all, where your career has went as a mechanic and working in the industry.
So started working for Cal Yarborough right out of high school.
Damn, where?
Down behind the airport.
Which car?
It was Derek Cope driving it for Finger Hut.
Yeah.
And I worked there for several years through Jeremy Mayfield and Andretti and some of those guys driving. Wound up leaving there and going to MB2 where I worked with TJ, and then that turned into Ginn, and then you guys bought us out for DEI and worked there for a while, and then when Michael went and done the MWR deal, I wound up working with Michael till it closed down. Left from there and went to Roush Fenway, and now I'm with Rick. So that's been my Cup tenure for mechanic.
All right, give me your racing career as a driver.
So started in a modified at Bowman Gray. I grew up in my grandfather's race shop, helping him build race cars, and I knew from a very young age that I wanted to race, and he kind of guided me through, and he was the one that helped me get into the Cup garage area, right? He knew all the people, and didn't come from a lot of money, so I had to work hard to have the money to buy the parts and pieces and go racing, and grew up going to Bowman Gray and watching my grandpa's cars race, and wound up knowing that's what I wanted to do. Bought a modified and went racing, and here we are today.
Yeah, and so, you've really enjoyed a lot of success at Bowman Gray. 101 wins, 12 track championships, and did you ever have opportunities that looked like they might materialize into deals that were truck, Xfinity, what have you?
I did. I had several phone calls, right, and it all ended up with how much money can you bring? And man, I come from a little farm town and not a lot of money, and it always ended with that last comment, like, how much money can you bring? So once I got to be my late 20s and all that, I kind of figured, I don't have the money to fund a truck team or what to buy me a ride. I just was content to keep racing at a high level in the modifieds and just really focused on being the best that I could at that level, right? And with partners I've had for so long, like Hayes Jewelers, been with me for 30 years. They gave me the opportunity to have the equipment that we need to be successful, and I'm okay with that. I hate that I didn't get an opportunity to do it, but I understand it also.
Yeah, at the same time, when you didn't get that chance to see what that other side was like, you did succeed, at the local level to the highest. In terms of the career that you've had behind the wheel of a modified is something that I think a lot of short track drivers would love to have. Obviously, talk about. And I've reconnected with this in my own way over the past couple of years. But talk about the uniqueness and how special the short track local weekly community is.
So that's going to be touchy, right? Because I honestly feel like it's a more intimate relationship than even with Cup racing, right? Because your fans every Saturday night can come down and get an autograph and spend hours with you buying merchandise or just hanging out with you. Just Saturday, we had a guy named Nick who came up from Fort Liberty and hung out in my shop with me all day, right? And he was like, man, this is so cool. And we just connected on Facebook, and he's like, man, I've served the military, been in for 16 years, watched you grow up racing, and just love to come by and see your shop and hang out. And man, we'll just become instant friends, right? And that's things I don't think that you see at the Cup level, right? But that happens a lot in what I call grassroots racing, and that's what it's all about, right? Like, and too, back to my career, working for Cup teams, right? I've had a lot of success in that, as winning races and things like that, and I always knew to make it to there, it was special, right? There's so many racers that can do it with the talent but never has the opportunity to do it. So I've been okay with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Tell me about Bowman Gray and what it means to you and what it means to the NASCAR ecosystem. I mean, it's got an incredible history, but I probably don't even understand exactly how incredibly special that place is.
So to me, it's super special. I grew up going there with my grandpa racing, and me and my brother and the mayor's kids and a lot of the kids from the racers would play in the pit area, and we had a little fire barrel. They had a barrel that they'd catch on fire, and if it's cold out, we'd hang out and play around that. But then if you just read the history books of the Earnhardts, the Pettys, the Bakers, Allisons, all those guys race there. You know what I mean? And now for the Cup Series to go back to where I feel like it all originated, dude, that's super cool.
Yeah. So, Rick, I'm going to get to you in a second. I just got so many questions about this. So the racetracks, one of the things that we've been talking about a little bit on the show early was the racetrack and how the Cup Series going there has forced some upgrades, safety changes, and so forth. The modifieds have basically the way the modifieds have ran there over the past multiple decades. They pretty much put the wall where it is. Right, and you can look at the old school retaining wall and see how the racing there had kind of shaped this racetrack and the exterior of the track as well. Well, that's kind of all been altered a little bit. I don't know if you've actually put boots on the ground and actually walked around the track or seen it firsthand. You've ran there your whole life. What do you think the changes to the track are going to do? Not just for this. This clash. I'm thinking more actually long term, especially for the coming season for the modifieds and so forth. So
I did get to see the racetrack for the first time Saturday, and they have done an amazing job. The place looks top notch. From seeing it when I left there in August last year to seeing it Saturday, I was blown away. I mean, the new lighting, the safer barrier, just all the updates that they've done is really, really cool, and that's things that I'm looking forward to enjoying for years to come. As far as the racing, it's definitely going to be different because the track's changed, right? So the safer barrier has taken away part of the groove that you race. And, like coming off of turn 4, you drive it straight to that juke out in the wall. Well, that's like 2 foot more now. So you're going to have to change your line, but it's the same for everybody. So cosmetically, it's amazing what they've done, and the lighting. I can't wait to see how well the cars show up at night because the lighting was never great there, and it's all good. It's good for everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I mean, I think you'd have the best opinion about the track and the changes to the track, which are necessary for the Cup cars to be there, but how that does affect a weekly racer. Rick, why? What was the driving force behind this decision to run Tim?
Well, it's twofold. It's the event itself, being Bowman Gray, and my relationship with Tim. So, backstory. I moved here in '90 to pursue racing, like hundreds of other wannabes, right? And my relationship through Clyde Vickers at CV Products was John Linville. So I came back to Kernersville and lived with John Linville, and got to meet Chip Lane, who was hanging bodies, I think, for the 21 at the time, but had a modified. And John Linville had his brother Dickie, who was running some stuff at Concord, and got to meet Todd Barrier because he was the only guy that was working with me on some of John Linville's cars. But when I moved here, all I heard was, man, you got to go to this Bowman Gray place. So come from the West Coast, go to the first race, and I can't remember what he was driving, but all I remember is some big guy who ended up being Chocolate Myers jumps out of his car, runs across the field, and tries to pull somebody out. And, I was just like, wow, this is just a different style of racing. But the place was packed. I mean, you could watch an ant race if there's 10,000 people screaming. You're going to get excited. You're going to start screaming too. So that whole concept of that track was just really cool to me. And I ended up living with John Linville for a while and kind of, met Frank Fleming. And at that time, that was where the original modified mafia, this whole Kernersville mafia thing. There's a whole bunch of these modified guys. And, modifieds are just, they're kind of really bad to the bone anyway, right?
Yeah.
They sound really cool. They're, fat tires. And so, got to start to go do that. And then, 2 or 3 years pass, and my neighbor was Ken Glenn, who ended up being a crew chief for Cale Yarborough, Derek Cope. And he said he'd introduced me to Tim. This is in probably maybe even before 94, because you actually worked for me for a few years on, I think, my late model or something, or I think I bought a Bush car or something, And so got to know Tim, and, just a great guy, digging hard, working on everything. So as the relationship kind of grew, our paths would cross on a regular basis. And we actually got involved as I was working on different marketing sponsor-related scenarios. We were talking about this television deal that was coming about, and I was trying to put together some sponsorship for my Xfinity cars with Circle K and this Thirst Buster deal. And I'm like, man, I don't really want to build a modified team or whatever. But so we kind of teamed up. I think it was 2008, which was, I think, your 8th championship. It was the Madhouse scenario, so it was perfect timing. We had, I think, Hayes was involved as always, and we had that sponsor on the car, and it was cool. I mean, that television thing kind of changed motorsports in what I would call reality television, right? And it's kind of, we haven't really produced the exact same emotions, I don't think, since.
Yeah.
And probably just because of politics, right? And being politically correct for sponsors and things that, back then between you and Myers and Junior Miller, they were dropping F-bombs, and it's just they were more. It was like watching Street Outlaws. There's more beeping than the car sounds. So, I just loved it, and so as I've grown, for the needs of trying to have things to offer sponsors, et cetera, one of the ideas that I came about when the modifieds had exited Martinsville for several years, they were going to come back. And I can't remember the year. I want to think it was 2000, maybe 15 or 16 or something like that. I'm not quite sure, but they were coming back. And I told Tim, I said, we need to get you approved for that because it would be great. And we were running a couple cars at the time. And so I was going to run Tim, and I was going to try to find the sponsorship for Bert. And we were going to run them under the RWR banner. But both of these guys with the idea, Clay at Martinsville would love the idea of first the modifieds coming back, but then, the whole love-hate relationship of the Myers and Tim Brown. So we ran a truck for Tim earlier to make sure he got approved, and that was an ill-fated scenario. And I was really wanting to be able to be part of that with Tim to get him to make his Cup debut. So fast forward, we're all pedaling as hard as we can, and there was a bunch of talk about this at the Clash last year. Were we going to come back for the third year? Was it even going to work? And then some of the rumors were Bowman Gray, and Tim at that point had come to work for us, and it was like, it'd be cool if we kind of did this or that or whatever. And when I heard from the background of hey, this is probably going to happen, I think I reached out to Tim and said, hey, I'm willing to commit to doing it if you're committing to doing it. And it doesn't matter, hopefully we can find sponsorship, but if we don't, I'm going to do this because it's a cool once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It took a while to make sure we went through all the powers that be to make sure it didn't ruffle feathers, because it was a little bit weird in that he's running an all-star race but hadn't made a Cup debut yet. So my sales point was, hey, you guys own this track now. It's Bowman Gray. This is Mr. Bowman Gray. The cars only go so fast. There's got to be a value to have 1 million laps there, and to have the, I think the winningest short track by championships in the country, regardless of modifieds or late models. I mean, I don't know if there's anybody competing running 12 championships. So a little bit of a long story, but that's the whole backstory of how this came about. And then it took on a life of its own, and it's just cool seeing somebody that has worked as hard, and there's all kinds of people all over this country that work as hard as he has, to be able to be part of it,
Yeah. So I hesitate to ask what the expectations are, and maybe it's not a performance thing. Maybe it's just your own enjoyment or being able to relish opportunity, or standing there amongst the industry wearing that uniform and next to the car that you helped build. When this is all over with, what's a happy ending? What's a satisfied result?
Man, I'm not so sure it hadn't already happened for me, to be honest with you. Being on shows like this with you, walking into the shop this morning and seeing the Cup car with my name on it that's wrapped, being in the media for a solid month. What I really want is to represent Rick well and to represent all the local racers in America that, hey, don't ever give up, right? I could go win the thing and I'm not going to be a full-time Cup driver. You know what I mean? I know that. I just want to enjoy the moment. Like you said, I want my wife and kids, Cam and Marley, are super excited for Dad to get the opportunity to participate at the Cup level. I just want to enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like Rick, I keep thanking Rick for it, and he's like, no, man, thank you. It's just so cool, this opportunity. And I'm trying to soak it all in and just enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm excited, knowing you for a long time, and there's, Tim was always a lot of fun to work with. He was one of the guys that you could come in and get a straight answer from if you need it, and get some advice if you need it as well, and also, I think I give Tim more of a hard time than probably anybody. There's not a weekend that if I find any social media clip of Tim, I make sure to because most of them, I mean, you've been pretty quiet here lately. I'm kind of disappointed that you must be getting older. I mean, the last clip I saw was that spotter that had to pull off your net.
Yeah, so I've got kids now, right?
That's true.
And with social media, my son's old enough now that he can get on YouTube and scroll and be like, Dad, why are you beating this guy up? So it does change you, right?
It does.
And we go to church now, and I just don't want to be that rough guy, right?
You've done your time.
I have,
yeah.
and you have to be that way to race at Bowman Gray for the years, right? To survive, you got to fight. You fight your way in and fight your way out. But nowadays, man, there's more to it, right? And I want to be a role model first and foremost for all the kids out there, and I just want to be a better person.
Well, the opportunity there, and Rick, the story behind it's incredible. That's kind of similar to what you do with your late model guys. You bring guys up and like Josh and Carson and these guys that graduate from the series and get a shot. I think it's really cool that locals get a shot to do something like you and Bert. I mean, it's cool. I really enjoy it, and it adds to it. Like people are going to be watching you.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
There's and maybe it's not one of the roles you want to play, but there's a bit of an underdog aspect to it, and the local hero going up against the Goliaths. And I would embrace that. I wouldn't feel any type of way about that, because that's absolutely going to have me plugged in. Wanting to see you do well, wanting to see you prove that you can compete with those guys, and hoping that you and both Bert have a great experience. And so that's gonna that's going to add a nice twist to the race, and it needed a little seasoning. It needed a little spice. So this is kind of cool. What do you've been to this racetrack your whole life. You've seen it at its peak, packed nights, the big races that you guys have over the years. Can you imagine what it might be like with the Cup Series on the property? How that might can you even get more people into this place?
Man, I've thought about that a lot, right? Because like our Hayes 200 race for every season is sold out, like it's standing capacity only. I don't know how you put more people in there.
Yeah.
But then you bring in all the TV networks and all the officials and the safety equipment stuff that NASCAR is going to bring at this level. That's insane, right? So it's a little bitty facility, right? So they're having people park all the way over to Winston-Salem Coliseum and busing them to the racetrack, right?
That's a good problem.
It is. And I'm just blessed to I'm going to get to witness it and be a part of it, right? So that is so cool.
What
so
about
cool.
the one of the things they're doing is teching the cars at Sharpner Speedway. I'm sure you're 100% versed in all the processes in terms of what's going on this weekend, being not only the driver of the car, but putting the car together and having all that responsibility that's unique to you only. I don't think any of the drivers in the field will be as involved in their car as you will. But how do you feel about the integrity of that, and is that comfortable for you, the cars being teched at Charlotte, taken to Bowman Gray and all of that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that, right? Because it's the same for everybody. Yeah. So it's not like it's doing that for a reason to give someone an advantage or not. So, and I understand why they're doing it. Racing at the stadium every weekend, there's not a lot of room there to set up a Hawkeye tent or the stations that you have to roll through. Mm-hmm. So I understand that fully. Yeah. And I think it'll make a better show for the fans that'll be able to have some room to come and walk around and see the cars and things. Because if you set all the stuff up that we go through on a weekly basis at a big racetrack, wouldn't be any room for anything else.
Gotcha. Do you think, and you maybe can't answer this till it's all over, said and done, is racing at Bowman Gray sustainable for the Cup Series? I mean, they're going, in my mind, it feels like they're going to have to really have a lot of grace. For example, the teching at Charlotte and so forth. There'll be a lot of exceptions, a lot of things that'll be forgiven because of the uniqueness of the property and the size of the property. But if this is a good success, can you see this continuing at Bowman Gray?
I would like to see it continue at Bowman Gray. Maybe if it's not the Clash, maybe it's just some other kind of race for the Cup cars, just for the history of the place, right? And two, I'm partial to the stadium because I grew up there, right? Yeah. But I would love to see it come back a few more times.
Yeah. How does NASCAR's purchase of the Speedway and acquiring the Speedway change anything at all?
It really didn't last year, for the simple fact that it happened so late. It was only like a month before we started racing, so they didn't want to come in and drop the grenade and change everything. But I think rolling in there this year with all the changes, I think some of this stuff was coming anyway, that NASCAR owned it, not just for the Clash to come. And it needed updating, right? It needed safer walls because we run pretty fast there, even though it's a short track, a little small racetrack. But the lighting, it wouldn't be this way if it wasn't for NASCAR. Now I know that, not just the Clash coming. So,
one of the interesting byproducts of necessity, we're talking about having to tech these cars in Charlotte, then come to the racetrack. There's been all kinds of discussions about even events like at Bristol that we have issues of getting haulers in and out, and it's been floated several times. Is there a way to keep the integrity but tech at the R&D center or some of these places? And the necessities that have come over the last couple of years, back when you were racing, you're there on Thursday and you're unloading and you're all day Friday and you're happy hours, and nobody ever thought that we could race without being on the track for 3 days. And then COVID comes and we go straight out to a 600-mile race and not a single car falls out. So people think about that. And then now we don't have COVID, but that changed the way we do some things. I really believe if the integrity is there, which I believe can be policed, I think the next wave is that we may be testing some things. Look, we don't need to take all of this room, which is room to take away from either hospitality people and or whatever. It wouldn't surprise me to test that again. Maybe it'd be at North Wilkesboro that we test it, right? Because the people aren't coming to the garages, and it's not typically not an event like it used to be. Kansas originally built the whole walkway where you can go through the tech and people watch. Well, that's because we were there all day Thursday, or unloading part of Thursday. It was just crazy. So the byproduct of this, I think, we'll have more conversations about the what ifs. And as soon as you can do that and then go somewhere, I think it changes the opportunity to look at other venues. I personally don't see why we need to go through a whole day of tech at Mexico, right? We're coming straight off of, I think Mexico is back-to-back with Sonoma, so you're not even going to be able to use the same car. those are the kind of things that I think the conversations behind the scenes we're going to see more of. So I think it's also going to be a learning process for the series.
No, that's a great point because, you have little infields like Martinsville and so forth that could probably benefit from, changes in the processes like that. And then, like you say, if the integrity can be held, there's no reason why you couldn't make those kind of changes for some of the smaller racetracks.
Does that open the door for other series to come in and race with you as well more? Because, at Martinsville.
Like a Cars Tour?
Yeah. I mean, if you don't have to use all the room all the time.
That's the reason why, I mean, that's one of the main reasons why the Cars Tour has to run on a Wednesday for the All-Star race weekend, because Thursday, Friday, the infield is just to capacity with everything else going on with the trucks and so forth.
Look at Martinsville. They're the Xfinity cars are parked on the hills and trucks are parked on the hills. And then it's a show just to get the trucks in and out before they can even bring the Xfinity cars to be in and out. So, again,
I like full weekends of other series.
I think to be able to accommodate that, I think that's a byproduct of some of this. And it can work because, again, COVID changed everything. And we all have to agree that the racing has been pretty fantastic since then. So, practice still is practice, and I get the value. I get the television issue of it. I mean, completely. But this is something that I don't think it makes a difference to the end show, and that's ultimately what's going to make the decisions. Is the end show? Can we now allow a handful of people to have Friday or Saturday passes in the pits that normally couldn't walk through there? Absolutely, we could. Now, I'm not saying that's what they want, but it just having opportunities is what's going to continue to grow this series like it's growing, and to open up doors for other series to run. I mean, we used to run late models and modifieds, right, at Richmond, but now that it's so short, you can't do that. So, I for sure would say going to New Hampshire. I mean, they're running modifieds there, and they used to run, the North cars back in the day. But
even a late model class would run sometimes.
Absolutely.
There.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Some great stuff, man. Well, I appreciate it. Looking forward to the Clash. Looking forward to seeing how you guys do. Tim, have fun, enjoy it, and I know you will. Rick, thanks for everything that you do for people like Tim, but everything you've done as far as your impact on NASCAR and the multiple series that you run as an owner. You're leaving a legacy.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
doing awesome, man.
Chipping away.
Well, you are, and it's hard work. What you're doing.
Thank you for the invite.
You bet you, man. Thank y'all, and hope to have you back. Maybe after a great weekend, come back and tell us about it.
It'd be awesome, man. Thanks for having us, and it's so cool just to be a part of things like this.
It's an honor to be asked.
So a great conversation with Tim Brown and Rick Ware. That was great. I got all the questions answered that I was curious about. I'm glad to hear what he said about the racetrack. It's not really going to be a huge thing. Because I know it's a tight little facility. Yeah. And they had beaten the guardrails into this kind of big, broad, bend all the way down both straightaways. And so they had kind of moved the guardrails to where they could use the exit of the corners and so forth the way they wanted to. All that kind of goes away. And the drivers will have to make the adjustments. But he doesn't feel like it's going to be that big of a deal. I'm glad for that, because not only do we want to have a great Clash, we don't want to change really what's been working there, right?
For sure.
Yeah. Great story. Tim Brown, Rick Ware, just a good dude.
Yeah. There's a lot of details leading up to this event that I did not know about.
Yeah. So I'm thankful for them. And I was sitting here thinking, man, like, here we are championing and supporting and wishing them well as they go to run in the Clash, a guy who's never ran a Cup race in his life.
Yep.
But yet we all have sort of not entirely conflicting opinions, but we all have sort of we have these. We're our thought about that 41st spot in the Daytona 500. The two opinions don't really jive. Like, if we can be okay with this, then we ought to be okay with that. No, is that kind of what I'm drawing from this?
I do. I mean,
if I can like Tim Brown in the Clash, why can't we all just
I guess it's just the way you get into it. Like when you word it like it was worded, like this guy's in no matter what. It's like, wow, I mean, shouldn't he kind of have to earn that a little bit? Like Tim's still got to go and race.
He does.
You know what I mean? Like,
but his his inclusion is pretty unique because he's never started a Cup race in his life.
For
right?
sure.
So I think it's I think it's exposed a little bit of hypocrisy, maybe
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, right here.
If you don't like this,
I'm just
then you
looking
like
inward.
that.
I'm just looking inward.
Maybe.
Am I wrong?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's my favorite saying.
Well, Tim's is now on the mic. We're going to get into a dirty a dose segment.
Hey.
What do you think, Tim's? Am I being a bit hypocritical? Kind of not. I don't oppose Helio. I'm just not like. I'm not embracing it like the Tim Brown, right? So
I just don't think that maybe the Helio story doesn't like appeal to you as a true race fan.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I don't think you're being hypocritical. I just think you're more excited for Tim Brown for the opportunity for that than maybe Helio is more of like a fanfare type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, maybe.
Tim's is here to talk Dirty Modo, and before we jump into that, we're happy to have FanDuel back for us this season. FanDuel's a great partner. I'm certainly enjoying the app itself. Although my parlay crashed in magnificent fashion, your Bills. I had Mahomes going for over 30 attempts, and he fell a little short of that. And Kelsey, I had Kelsey getting more. I had like a 7-player parlay. The Holmes 30 passing attempts missed, and Kelsey, I think I had him at 5 receptions, and that missed.
Yeah.
Oh, that had to be close. I think he had 4.
He was 2.
Oh, he only had
Really?
2. Oh, he had 4.
It was, or whatever it was. I don't know.
2,
It was
yeah.
not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's tough
All
to
right.
predict. One
But
game
I'm
they'll give it to him.
but hey,
Well,
got it. I got the other 5, but still,
Yeah.
that doesn't matter, right? And what the hell, you know? How come I couldn't? How come I wanted after my Commanders didn't pull it out? I tried to save the night. Did not work. So we got the sports books win totals for 2025. They've released those. Tim's is here to analyze which bets are smart to take before the Daytona race. And so let's just run through them.
Yeah, we got, a lot of the teams one is more that I'm interested in right now off the bat.
Yep.
2 I've already bet already. Trackhouse Racing's over 3.5 wins. It's plus 120. Anything with a plus number next to it, I love the price. But if you look at Trackhouse, now SVG joins full-time, and he can win any road course, every road course, to be honest. His number is only 1.5 wins. Personally, I think he can win 2. He probably could have won 2 races last year. Got passed by Busch on the last lap at Watkins Glen. Had the best car at Chicago before he got taken out. So there's your 2 wins right there. That covers his number. And you're halfway there for Trackhouse in their win total. And I think Ross had a really down year last year.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for positive, a better year for Ross, I think he wins 2 races, and there you go. You cover that number.
Wow. All right. I mean, you got Hendrick at 11.5 wins. That's a lot, dude.
That's a lot. And I think they won. I think they only won 11 last year. Like doing the math, I have to go back. But that's a lot of wins, and that's with Larson having a really good year. Byron had a really good start. I go under on that one. It's even. The price is minus 115 both ways, so I think the books are even like not sure about that.
Yeah.
Joe Gibbs Racing at 8.5 wins. You might think that's low. I thought it was low looking at it, but they only won 6 times last year.
So I feel like that number is high, and I would bet the under on Joe Gibbs. I just, I 8.5 wins. The Creechy change with Denny, and just everything going on there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what to expect out of Denny coming into this year. And I think he has to go out there and win about 3 or 4 races for this 8.5 to hit.
Yeah, and I personally think he won 3 last year. I think he maybe only wins 2. I think there's a little bit of a step back. I think Christopher Bell wins close to 5. Like I think he's going to take the step up, and maybe that offsets that. But then you need 1 or 2 from Briscoe and Gibbs, and I mean Gibbs just disappeared last year.
He did disappear
and
last year.
That makes me nervous. And he is around that kind of 100 start period where Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson all won their first race, but
That'll be close, but I don't think it gets there.
yeah,
Team Penske 5.5.
I think that goes over.
That sounds pretty good.
It's low, and I don't even think you need Cindric to win to hit that. I think
Right.
So
Oh man, 23-11, 4.5 wins.
it's all dependent if Bubba can win a race.
Yeah.
I think Tyler can get you 3 or 4, but that's
I
a
think
tough
that's
one.
under.
I do too.
Yeah.
RFK 2.5.
TJ's not gonna like this, but I like the under.
What do you think, TJ?
I mean, he can like
I
whatever he wants. I don't agree with him because I feel like we were in position to win other races last year, other than just the plate races, which we were pretty much leading both the Talladegas off of turn 4.
That's another team. That's another operation with a crew chief change. Brad Keselowski will have a new crew chief this year.
Also bringing in Priest, so that's going to help our plate racing stuff, I believe, as well. When you have another worker there, another car to add to the mix to compete with these guys, I think that helps as well.
Yeah,
Jeremy Bullins is no stranger to the pit box.
He is not,
and so it'll be interesting to see what that does to Brad's performance.
Yeah. First thing, I got a text from Jeremy first thing and said, "Hey, I don't have to go on any shows, do I?"
Honestly, I think I'm going to be bullish on RFK and go. I think they get to 3. I would be really surprised if they exceeded that 2.5 wins by lots, but I think they can certainly win the bet.
The betting price, they're over 2.5 at -180. I would not. I hope I'm wrong on this one. This one is kind of like I'm not positive on, but.
Richard Childress Racing at 1.5.
I got under. I
mean, holy moly!
I mean, I'm not a big Austin Dillon guy.
Oh,
I think that's known, but I think I don't think Austin wins, and I think Kyle. I don't know what to expect.
Yeah,
I really don't. But another one where I'm like, I wouldn't be shocked if Kyle wins 2 races. But
dude, they have Richard Childress Racing and Spire at both 1.5.
I don't get the Spire one.
Yeah.
That is
a lot of people are very high on Spire, and I don't get it.
I don't either.
Well, it's because of they're adding pieces, man. They got Rodney
I just
over there
have
now.
to see it first.
I do too.
There's not. I haven't seen anything that tells me they're like
what driver's
on the
ready
verge
to
of
win,
winning a race.
McDowell is definitely he can win any road course. I think he can win a super speedway, but he's a brand new team.
Man,
I don't like that.
Road course racing's got a lot harder now that we're adding in.
Yeah.
Now you got Shane in there, and you have Zilich running.
It's
times.
almost flipped where Spire's at 1.5 and front row's at 0.5.
It should be flipped.
Yeah,
that shouldn't be how it is.
Kind of backwards.
Yeah, the price for the under is -250 though, so it's almost it's unbettable. But I think it hits anyway. I mean, but yeah, front row. I actually do like the under in front row. I mean, it's a risk. They got some speed, but you have 3 drivers now without McDowell that really haven't come close to winning.
Yeah,
and I'll take that bet.
Yeah, I'd take the bet on the under on front row and Spire.
Yeah.
Richard Childress Race. You just can't never count out Kyle Busch. You just can't.
He could win 3 in a row.
God, dude,
he could.
He has to be the most motivated guy out there. He does not like losing, and he certainly doesn't like breaking streaks, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you'll hear the comments where you can tell through what he's saying that those things matter, like to go winless last year, and I think he feels like he's got to go out there and prove it all over again, right? And so he's going to be super determined. I would think Richard Childress Racing gets the 2 wins needed.
It could. I don't know. This is such a pivotal year. This could be the start of like the decline, or he can bounce right back. And if he bounces back, great. It's all on him. It's a lot of pressure.
There's a few drivers that are in that boat right
How
now
old is
too.
he?
Upper 30. What is he? 38.
It's close to 40.
Close to 40. That's
he's got 2 to 5 years for the decline.
You think so?
Really is evident.
I mean, you just never know though, because if it does go bad there and they don't have any speed, but they had speed at the end of last year.
Yeah.
So I'd be optimistic. I think he can do it.
Pretty cool. Well, hey, Tim's, appreciate it. These are pretty cool bets.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. I think people can have a lot of fun with this stuff. All these futures are good to get on board with. The only problem is that stuff sticks around in your bet in your bets forever.
Yeah. If you're new to betting and you want to kind of dip your toe, this is a great way to win totals to do that, because you have something on each race. It's just one bet throughout the whole year. But the downside is, you're right, it ties up your money the whole year.
It ties up your money the whole year, and you're sitting there watching that bet.
Yep.
And then
So bet the overs. Don't bet the unders.
Yeah. I did a Caitlin Clark average points scored for the year, and just sitting there watching that thing because it was losing all year.
Yeah.
I bet, and I was like, I just want to, go ahead, take it.
Yeah,
get it off my slip, get it out of my face.
I know it lost. Take it.
Yeah. But all right, man. Again, FanDuel's back this year with us, supporting us here at Dirty Mo Media and for our Dirty Mo Doe segment. Alex, Timms, appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, guys.
Let's get on to Smash Junior.
Yes. We've got a lot of questions, and I'm keeping an eye on the YouTube chat as I know that you guys are as well. This is going to be a shot in the dark, this first one. It's from Rose, and they wanted to know, so they were rewatching the 2012 Daytona 500, like the Juan Pablo rain delay, and there was an interview where they asked, what are you talking about? And you're like, nothing's safe for TV. Do you remember any of the conversations on the backstretch as you were waiting for NASCAR to clean it up?
There's a lot of questions about what happened.
I think a lot of us were actually okay if they didn't, because we were wondering if they were going to call the race.
Right. Yeah.
And I think, wasn't Dave Blaney leading?
He was leading. And Landon Castle was up there too. Like, it was going to be an unbelievable top
There was
five.
a conversation of all of us going, is everybody cool if we just say, all right, man, Dave's the winner? And I think everybody, maybe Carl Edwards wasn't okay with that, but
I'm shocked.
I can't remember who. We were joking, of course.
Carl did not think you were joking.
Yeah.
No.
I'm like,
I want to race.
What a Dave! Dave!
What do you mean? Did he?
Dave, way to go! I could have walked out of there. Well, I was fifth or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. He said, Dave. Carl was like,
yeah.
No.
Yeah. And then, we had this race to the toilet.
Yep.
Dude, so I didn't think Brad was going to run as fast as he did.
I didn't think either one of you could run that fast.
And he didn't. He's like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm like, I kind of got to go. And so I ran by him and I went, race you. And he took off, and I was like, of course, now I've got to beat him because there was all the fans on the back straightaway still. We had the grandstands.
They were cheering?
Yeah. And I got to the bathroom first, and I got in there and nearly freaking died because I was out of breath.
Oh
my God. I was like, that was a dumb idea.
I thought that's because you had to use the bathroom.
Yeah, I was like, did you get stage fright?
No. That was
all them
stupid.
People cheering.
Just to take off sprinting as hard as you could for no reason. That was dumb.
They need to get back in a race.
Yeah. But we got there's another Dre in here is asking, could we get Tim Brown on the show? He's a guest today. Tim comes in today. Tim came in with Rick Ware, sat down, talked to us about running the Bowman Gray race for the Clash. So, yeah, you're going to get to hear from Tim. I asked him, too, one of the things, I mean, this is nothing to do with the Clash, but I was like, hey, they changed the track. You know, you're racing the mods there all year long. Are you've seen it? You've been to the track, put your feet on it. Is it bad? You're okay with the changes? You know, the safer barrier takes away about 3 foot of racetrack. They use every bit of that. That's the width. That's the size
Absolutely.
or width of the right side tire. Mm-hmm. So they're gonna have to change their line entirely all the way around the track. We talk about that.
Yes, and I was at Bowman Gray. I was gonna add this, but I wasn't on a mic. But I was on Bowman Gray. I was there Wednesday, Thursday with Dillner, who knows that place like the back of his hand. He actually said they did a good job.
Yeah.
With everything.
Yeah. The wall's not cattywampus.
Yeah, but Tim Brown on the show earlier.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Next question. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, all right.
I thought
cool.
you had them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I do. I don't. Yeah. All right. I don't know.
Well, plug your network.
You want me to get the next question here? Let me scroll.
Andrew,
there.
plug your network cable in and give us a question.
It's almost the weekend at least. This next question is coming from Ian, and he wants to know what your dad's daily driver was.
Dad would get a Chevrolet pickup most times that he drove, a Silverado extended cab. That's what he drove, in probably the last 5 or 10 years of his life. And before that, I remember now he had some old cool square body trucks back in the 80s when I first moved in. That would be freaking awesome today. When they were back then, it was like, it's just a truck. But square bodies are pretty big these days. But I remember Teresa always getting these, or Dad always having these big station wagons for Teresa to drive around, and they had the decaled wood paneling on the side.
They're long, like this Christmas movie. What's that? Christmas Lampoons, like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we had a couple of those Chevrolets.
Are those the first cars you remember riding in as a kid?
No, I remember the first thing I remember riding in was my mom's '78 Monte Carlo.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I remember to think about it today. We drive around in my truck, which is relatively safe, and I am like making sure that the girls are buckled in perfectly, 5-point harness, and Isla's all, sit up straight. It does, your restraint doesn't work if you're laying down, because she'll be leaning over and playing with her sister, and I'm like, quit it. And man, me, the guy that was riding around laying down in the floorboard or the back seat of Mom's '78 Monte Carlo, just being a complete imbecile.
Cigarette lighters and stuff to play with. I mean,
yeah.
You don't even know anything about that, probably. But I mean,
What?
The cigarette lighters in the back. Every car back then had that. But,
Oh yeah. I mean,
did you ever touch one?
Yeah, you could burn yourself any minute.
Oh yeah.
Light a cigarette in a car?
Hell yeah.
You had the lighters in your car.
The lighter in the car, the push
in
button,
the back.
push in lighter.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
When it popped out, it would be glowing. I touched it. I was stupid. I mean.
Oh yeah, you burn yourself all the time.
I did.
But one time they left me and Kelly in the car and went inside, and me and Kelly knocked the car in gear, and we ended up rolling down a hill.
What?
Yeah. Me and Kelly, we told that story on here a long time ago, but we ended up rolling down a hill. This was in the 70s when Mom and Dad were still together, and we ended up rolling down a hill, just kind of bumped into a building or rolled to a stop. Nothing crazy. But they came run down there. And
what do you mean? I just bumped into a building. Nothing crazy.
I'm in the floorboard.
We just rolled down a hill into a building.
Yeah. I'm like 2 or 3 years old, and I'm down in the floorboard of the car, and Kelly's somewhere.
With the lighter.
Right. Cigarette lighter. But
nothing crazy. Just hit a building.
I don't know what we hit, damn it. Jeez, my story. I'm just saying that's what happened.
Were you scared?
But today,
did you guys realize, like, oh crap, we just like
I don't remember this. I was 2, 3.
Oh,
I don't remember anything. I can far
so
back
just
as I
know
can,
this happened.
I just know this happened.
Oh, okay.
Like, what's the earliest you can remember? I was asking Isla this the other day. I was like, Isla, what's the earliest you can remember? She goes, I remember meeting my babysitter for the first time when I was a baby. I'm like, no, you don't.
There's no way.
Yeah, you call her out on it.
I'm like,
no.
I was like, do you remember what you wore for her Halloween when you were 2? And she's like, no.
Yeah. It doesn't go back as far as I would. I've done the same thing, and they can remember detail of things, like it's annoying, but then they don't remember that stuff.
You ever think both of your guys' children, like, oh, is this going to be a core memory for them? Like, we're doing this. Yeah. Like, is this something?
Apparently,
he
had one.
Remember? Yeah, you had a core memory.
I don't remember that.
Nah.
I just know I've heard about it. The furthest back I can go is my 4th birthday. For some reason, I remember that, and I don't know whether it's actual. And I don't know whether it's an actual memory, or it was something I was told and I now remember. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like you kind of can picture the details, but it's very vague.
Super vague, really vague.
Mine is a birthday too for some reason. Something about birthdays.
I think I'm right around 4. At 3, we had a. I'm not gonna go. We had a goat when I was really little, and it would knock me over.
I don't know why that's funny.
Wait, you had a goat?
Yeah, we're not gonna talk a lot about that.
No. We gotta talk about TJ's goat. All right, fine. We'll go to the next question.
I don't remember
From
Annie's
YouTube
name.
Chat, they want to know more about the goat, TJ.
I don't remember Annie's name. I mean, no, I remember that goat, and I hated that goat. So
Why?
Why did you hate it?
Because it would knock the out of me. Sorry.
Oh yes. Hey. Them goats will do that.
Yeah, he's had goats that have done that.
Are you still afraid of the goats?
We
goats to this day?
Yeah.
Do you remember when we had goats?
Yes, I would get in that pen and climb with them rocks.
Yeah. So we donated the $1 million to the Victory Junction, and they gave us 2 goats. And I had a little pen made for them. We put some big rocks in there, and they would hop up on them rocks. And
stand right next to you and be like, look at you. And,
dude, it was hilarious. They would just kind of be standing there doing completely nothing, and all of a sudden one would just go, bam, and hit the other one in the head, and you're like, holy crap. And they were just doing that for fun,
Yeah. That was much better than when you got the buffalo and we ran out to the barn and we climbed up in the middle there and then we're on the other side if you went over there.
Yeah.
You took off running and left me in there and then you're
that was funny.
No, it wasn't funny. Call Mitch and to get over here and get these buffalo.
I was like, yeah. I ran. So there's a barn in the middle of the field. I said, TJ, let's go to the barn. We get in there and go to the barn. And did we call the buffalo over?
They come running over there because I think you're going to feed them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then I ran out and jumped the fence, which is about 50, 60 yards away.
You left him.
He just took off. We would go from one side in the middle there, and they would
good
run
luck,
around.
TJ.
They would run around to the other side, and I was scared.
They will chase your ass.
Yeah, and probably
What will happen if they
trample you. I mean,
They would just send you like
what the goat did to TJ.
They would send you like a bull.
or just trample you with thousands of pounds they weigh.
You would hope that you get sent like a bull
I would rather
instead
be
of getting
sent.
trampled. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That was one of those experiences
One of
that you
them's
remember.
really, really rude. One of the buffaloes is really,
Oh,
rude.
really?
Really rude.
How so?
If you go up to the fence, it flinches at you.
Yeah.
Like if you
it
go
tests you.
Yeah. If you go up to the fence, it'll be like, hey,
Yeah.
I'll come through here, and,
You want Dave Blaney to win?
But it says it in like a female buffalo voice, whatever that sounds like. But it's not. They're all female.
Okay.
Yeah. But
They're intimidating.
They
The
are.
buffalo are very intimidating.
But you know what's interesting is the mean one's one of the younger girls. So we got two pair. We got this one pair a long, long time ago, and then another younger pair came. The rude one is one of the younger girls, and when she acts up, the older ones put
Put him in line.
her in check.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't like her being rude.
Wow.
We've seen them do it. It's pretty cool.
Huh.
Yeah.
That is pretty neat.
Yeah.
Travis wanted me to say, TJ, is that why you're so afraid of Patrick Mahomes?
Because he's a goat. That's hilarious.
right.
My God.
Who's Travis?
I'm glad he ain't talking about my Commanders.
Who's Travis?
That's right.
That team that lost to Michigan.
Yeah, right.
My
Yeah.
bad.
All right. You can still bring that one back. This next question is coming from Dan. Does the college football league ever get out of hand?
Not really.
Not yet.
It's rolling along.
Yeah.
Normal. We're waiting on we're supposed to have a couple other members joining here pretty soon. If I don't want to
Wait.
Member?
Who? Oh.
Well, if Noah or Zilich will ever get an Xbox.
Noah and Zilich said that they were going to co-own a team.
Yeah.
Co-own? Oh,
Yeah.
so you can co-own a team?
Yeah,
well,
you can-
you could, but I wouldn't want to do that. But you could.
I wouldn't want to do it, but if you and Travis wanted to co-own, he could play some of the games. You
Yeah.
could play some of the games.
Oh, wait. I might be interested now.
Why? Just play the games.
Travis
They're not
says
bad.
he's not interested.
Can me and my roommate join?
Yes.
Co-own? Oh,
Travis would hate the league because
All
Michigan
right.
would dominate him.
Yeah.
okay.
It doesn't
I
matter
think
who
we're
plays your
interested.
games.
Have you ever had to kick anyone out?
Not of the college league.
Of what?
Madden League I did back in the day.
Who?
Yeah, I kicked Brad out.
He kicked Brad Keselowski out. The
Yeah.
best man at his wedding.
So
Brad was yeah, I had to kick Brad out. So
your own best.
Why
man?
did you kick Brad out?
because he had it down. He like Brad and everything. He's so smart with everything. He knew exactly how many yards he needed with every player to get the bumps and all that stuff back
So
in
he's
the
too
day.
good?
He would catch the kickoff and run out of bounds at the 2-yard line to have a 98-yard drive instead of a 80-yard drive. And every player, like he knew, he was like,
He gamed the system.
yes, very much. Brad was super smart at it.
So
But-
we actually had Brad in for Business Motorsports.
I heard.
And
Yeah.
Brad has talked about it. We'll play the clip here.
Ooh.
Are you in any of his Madden or NCAA leagues?
Not anymore.
Okay.
No. You know, he made me mad one time. He kicked me out of his Madden league. I forgot about that one. Yeah. He kicked me out of his league for beating him too much. So,
That's not true though.
haters gonna hate.
That's not true. Actually,
It's not
Gonna
true.
hate.
I'll leave it at this. The first time me and Brad played in the Super Bowl, we were in the third quarter, and I just went down the field and scored. He did something, and it was bad for him. And he gets 2 delay game penalties in a row, and I paused the game, and I'm like, dude, if you get one more, it's going to kick you out. And he literally texts back and says, sorry, I don't have any more remotes left, because he was breaking all of his remotes. And those pieces, when he lived out there by you, I went over there, and there's pieces of Xbox remotes in like all the corners of the rooms and stuff. Like, 'cause he would get so mad. Yeah. The Lions did win a couple Super Bowls. I think the Bills won 5 back then. So we had trophies and everything. Maybe we should do that for the college league.
Yeah. It's pretty fun.
It
I
is
enjoy
fun.
Yeah.
It's entertaining. I hope they make the game better for next year and we can continue it.
Yeah. I could get into my level of preparation
All
for
right, let's hear it.
Oh, you don't listen.
No?
What is this, a whole thing? No. Dale wants to talk about it.
Yeah,
Let's talk about it.
It's in depth here.
I have a spreadsheet on my phone right here of the plays
and players.
So I got a.
He's like Brad Keselowski.
No. I got a spreadsheet of all of my run plays, their average yards per use, pass plays, RPOs, screens. Look at it. I have. There it is.
Oh my God!
And it's like, okay, these are the plays used on first down, second and short, third and short, fourth and short, second and medium, and so forth. And then I have another spreadsheet that has my depth chart, all my offensive players, and whether they are impact or not.
Look at TJ. Look at TJ.
Impact, star, elite.
Yeah. And then my scouting and commitments in terms of recruiting.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you're at each play, are you just like scrolling through like, oh?
No.
No, he's got him set.
I don't have to scroll.
Oh, you just know.
I built my own playbook that suggests to me the play that I want suggested to me
for that situation,
for that moment.
Like he's literally that into the game.
Yeah.
He's literally the coach on the sideline holding that sheet that has all the scenarios ready to go.
Oh my God.
So if I am at like a second and medium, I have the plays suggested to me that I want for that scenario.
Wow.
He's really gunning hard since he lost national championship.
Have you won anything? Anything big?
I made it to the championship game for the first time last season. We're in season 5.
I forget who won that one.
4? TJ.
It was a good game, though. We had a good game.
I'm Charlotte. He's Michigan. I'm Charlotte.
But
he's Michigan.
He's built
your own teams, right?
But he's built this team up. They are not like
the Charlotte we think of.
And he won't change conferences to play higher people, so he plays Army and Navy every year.
I like my conference. I'm gonna
I would too if I won every
make
game.
the American Coast Conference an elite conference.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna jump out of another to go to a different conference. I'm gonna get it to where Michigan's gonna go. I need to be in that American.
I don't think so. I moved Wyoming. I have 2 teams. I have Wyoming as well, and I moved them into the SEC for a tougher schedule, and they are now playing they're in the second round of the college playoffs.
Wow.
So it's fun though. It's good. It's his preparations.
I have to prepare like that to keep it fun. I am a data notes, like when I was biking all the time and I would compete against, I go run the same route on my bike. I would come home and like spend an hour looking at the data to see how I did in each segment, right?
Yeah.
And how my watts. I got that. That's what
Strava
makes
segments.
me go do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is the data and just sitting down and playing the game. That is gonna get old.
I go biking with him. I come back and just try not to die.
Do you Zwift, right?
Yeah.
You ever race your ghost?
Right.
Ghost
Yes.
person? Yeah.
Yep. I probably wouldn't enjoy that now because my 2017 self was about 2 mile an hour faster.
Yeah, he goes, come over, we'll go for a short bike ride. Like, I'm thinking like 5 miles at most because we're going like 16 miles that day. On my
That is
first,
a short bike ride.
not for your first time ever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No. He's like, bring your mountain bike. It'll be good too. I'm like, no.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh.
But anyway, I got to do all of that to keep me motivated to keep doing it.
Nice. Well, that is a good place to wrap.
Really?
Yes.
I thought we were going to talk.
I was told to wrap.
Why? I mean,
We
you
were
took
gonna
up the time up in the beginning.
Talk. Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Because we wanted to talk about. Okay. Let me find the name here. Okay. I can't find the name, but it is about rookie stripes.
Yeah.
Thoughts on rookie stripes going away?
I was surprised that I learned that the same way everybody else did. Through Ryan Williams, who is one of our designers here at Junior Motorsports. He busted that wide open on the internet. I was it shook me up there for a second because it's such a cool tradition. And I saw, of course, I listened to the conversation on social media, and a lot of people are going, well, it's not necessary now. The drivers, they kind of know who everybody is. It's not for the drivers. It was for us. It was for me and you. And so when in today's NASCAR, where the fields are a bit smaller and the amount of cars that actually show up to try to qualify a race are kind of at the lowest marks that they've been in quite some time, we don't have much of a robust rookie battle. There's some that kind of come and go. And so I get why it's kind of not quite as necessary as it used to be. Am I noticing that yellow stripe on the back of the cars like I used to? No. And so, but in like 1980, for example, when you went to the Daytona 500, there were probably 70 to 80 cars trying to qualify for the Daytona 500. Multiple 20, 25 rookies maybe, right? Lots of rookies, right? A dozen or more.
Yeah.
That was when it was necessary, right? Not only for fans but drivers as well. And it was extremely necessary back then. So it's kind of changed in terms of what purpose it served. But man, I just, and I don't hate to be that guy. Some traditions, what's wrong with them? Right? I mean, that was just a thing.
Yeah.
That didn't have to go away.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, like it's not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
I think it was more like you if you lost your rookie stripe, it was because you weren't a rookie anymore. Like, hey, I've got that season under my belt now.
Yeah.
Like you kind of, I don't know, like I don't know. I kind of liked it.
It's kind of a neat tradition. It was a rite of passage, or to your point, TJ, it was kind of cool to get that rookie stripe off your bumper.
You earned it.
And then there's this cool picture of A.J. Foyt. I think in 1981, 82 or whatever, he went to Darlington to try to qualify for the Southern 500 and had to go through the rookie orientation. Or there was a story about that. There's a picture of his car with the rookie stripe on the back. I don't know, man. It's not a big deal. I'm totally gonna forget about it. 5 laps into the Daytona 500, I'm not gonna give a crap.
Is there even a rookie of the year much anymore?
There are some years where the battle is quite entertaining.
It's going to be SVG.
Like
Riley
last year's
Herbst.
was good.
Last year's was, I think.
Yeah, Hocevar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that got more.
Barry got out there
attention.
into a lead, and
Yeah.
Hocevar kind of ran him down.
I kind of wish that was. I mean,
Celebrated.
Yeah, because it was a big deal. Like, I mean,
Well,
to me,
I think that when people, not so much fans, but like when the industry execs and so forth get excited about a particular rookie, you got a guy like Chase Elliott or William Byron or somebody coming in that's already kind of an established name. Then it's celebrated. Then it's advertised. Then it's talked about. But last year's rookie crop wasn't a very, maybe not that much of an exciting one going into the year, but it turned out to be a pretty competitive race and a fun one to pay attention to. But I just kind of thought it was a good. I mean, especially like at the Xfinity and the truck level.
Oh, it's
almost,
it's an identifier.
Yeah.
And there's kind of a big deal when you rip those rookie stripes off.
If you go from trucks,
If you
go from trucks to Xfinity and your rookie's there, to me, if you should carry it to the Cup Series, and then when you're there and you establish stuff, you lose it.
Yeah. I mean, the word I think you said it in the YouTube chat. Pamela, LD Show, Peaceful Tim are all saying it's tradition. That's what's important. You can't lose some of that identity.
I agree. And things like that. Why do you? Why do you? Didn't have to go away. Didn't have to. No. Yeah, it's fine.
Well,
all right.
That's a good place.
Yeah.
And I know the YouTube chat, they were, they're like, oh, where are the questions? I screenshot a lot of the ones that I see in the YouTube chat. So if you didn't hear it today, just stay tuned for the next couple because I put it in a big folder. But that's a good place to end Ask Junior this week.
Yeah, appreciate everybody. Been fun watching the chat. I think I'm going to do this for every show.
We should all have it up.
It is fun. All right, it's time for the white flag. Great show, TJ. Appreciate you
good
being
time
here, pal. Looking forward to this year, man. You ready?
I'm ready, man. Today was
all
a good
right.
kickoff. Thanks.
We'll be taping on Tuesdays. TJ.
Yeah, we'll try Tuesdays from here on out, and I'll be on time.
Dale, are you good? Because you made fun of me for...
I have whatever you had going on now. I've got it.
Oh, boy.
Just cough, though. You're like trying to hold it.
I'm not trying to get it out.
Just let it go. Like... I'm gonna bring you guys cough
I'm
drops.
afraid if I cough, I might fart at the same time.
Are you at that age where you don't know if it's a fart or you're gonna yourself?
There, I just let it out. Farted. There you go. Farted on the show. Are you happy? This is not the first time. It's the only time I've ever told you I've done it. I was trying not to fart with TJ sitting here.
All right.
Wait, that's
and
why so you'll...
And we're live.
All the shows are coming back on February the 2nd. Tear Down, Door Bumper Clear, Freddie Kraft, Tommy Baldwin, Carson Ellis, the new lineup for Door Bumper Clear. Can't wait to see how that show does this year. Actions Detrimental with Denny Hamlin is back again. We're excited about that. Thank you, Denny, for coming back for another year. I know you're having fun. Dale Jr. Download with Dirty Air, me and TJ. Also, our guest show on Wednesday, and Herman Schrader are going to be back. They're having a good time doing their show, and I'm excited about that. And Speed Street with Connor Daly and Chase Holden. So that's going to be – I wanted to say Carson Daly for some reason. Isn't that weird?
I mean –
Isn't that weird?
Let's see if we can do a show.
I wonder if I bet he gets that a lot. Connor Daly is going to be running in the IndyCar full-time this year, which is really, really cool. Mm-hmm. When he's in the car, he brings so much insight to the show, and he does not mind sort of talking about, the ins and outs of the, the drama going on in the IndyCar world. And there's a big excitement around IndyCar.
And he does a good job. He gets all the other drivers to join on.
He does. He does. And Fox is putting out some promos.
Good ones.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there's there's going to be some good content on Speed Street this year. But there's more. We're dropping some big news on Wednesday that you'll want to keep an eye out for. It's about the Thursday show. That's all I can say.
This is killing you, isn't it?
Yeah, not really. I'm excited about it, and I'm looking forward to this year. We've got a lot of great things. We did some retooling a little bit in off-season that happens from time to time. But I'm getting up for it, man. I'm pumped. Today was fun. Everybody was involved. I've really, really enjoyed the group that we got and like how we all have a lot of great chemistry, and it seems like everybody enjoys each other. So this could be a really, really, really fun year for myself, but for Dirty Mo Media as a whole. And then January 29th at 7 p.m., the Driven to Give 400. All right?
I'm pumped about that.
Yeah. It's an online race. We're taking the mini stocks to Iowa, 400 laps. This championship event will feature drivers from Junior Motorsports, including 2024 Xfinity Series champion Justin Allgaier, Josh Berry, Tony Kanaan. All kinds of other guys are going to be participating, recognizable names. But basically, we're taking 400 laps. We'll get 4 drivers per car. So me and you, TJ, are sharing a car with Landon Huffman and Steven Steffen. Yeah. And we're each going to run 100 laps and then switch drivers.
It's good we're on the same team because I would wreck. Me and him would wreck with each other.
We
and
would.
Me and Landon would hit each other as well.
We're terrible.
We are.
It will be streamed exclusively on Twitch.
Is there pressure to win this?
No pressure. It's all for charity.
I'm reckoning.
We're raising some really, really good money. This is doing really, really good numbers in terms of the money it's going to raise to just be having some fun on iRacing.
This is the first annual, right?
Yes, we've never done this. So, drivers might go out and do golf tournaments and other things like that. We have a lot of events that we do throughout the year, but this is the first time. I didn't know we could actually raise money.
This is cool because you can get people from around the world.
Online.
You don't have to get them to come out to an event.
I think you pay $100 as a driver to enter, to be a part of a team. And, we'll see how it does. And if we need to adjust that number or what have you to go forward, you can buy – some people weren't quite understand how to take this part. You can buy a black flag and a caution. Like you can black flag somebody or have someone black flag. Say somebody gets a really big lead. We can pay –
I'm glad I'm on your team.
We can pay to have them black flag.
What's the pay?
$500.
Oh,
everybody's black flag.
It's really steep.
Bill it to him.
I was going to black flag Steven.
You'd need to get some, you might want to get Tony Kanaan to do that. He likes to do that. I was in another charity race with him last year where they were buying black flags, and I bought a couple. I mean, it's for charity. And so if we need a yellow, somebody needs a yellow at a certain point in the race, the bunch of fill back up, there may be a $500 donation coming across.
I'm wrecking Tony though, because remember he wrecked me in that race.
Don't wreck, because then he's going to wreck one of us when we're driving the car.
Well, that's fine.
No. So anyhow, it's going to be a lot of fun. It is really going to be a good time, and I don't get too bent out of shape about the end result. We're just going to have some fun. We've been testing the car. It's a good little combination between the mini stock and Iowa. And then, obviously, before we go, I wanted to mention the Cars Tour. New River Valley All-American Speedway is the first race of the year on March 1st, 7 p.m. on Flow. The Cars Tour West kicked off this past weekend with Harvick running second to his teammate Dawson Sutton. So the Cars Tour West and East are starting to get their seasons going. And March 1st for the Cars Tour Series here out on the East Coast on Flow Racing at 7 p.m. I'll be tuning in. I'm not running in that one. I got about 4 races I'm going to run this year. We'll keep you abreast on everything going on there. The first one, I think, is April 12th at Cordell. And, yeah, that's the show. We're good? Everybody good?
We're good.
All right. We'll see you.
See ya. Go Bills.